Hello, what's up, and welcome to all my viewers from around the world. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. Coming at you guys today with another 1v1 live game, featuring spawning in the west, the United Kingdom forces of Boba Fett. Clearly the mercenary looking for a little bit of extra work, happy to accept the King's shilling in this instance and take command of a regiment of British forces. An unusual occupation for a stormtrooper from the far future, but there we go. And spawning in the east, we have the Overcommand... Wait, no, sorry. This is the Wehrmacht forces of Hama, wwU. So Hama, I believe, I have actually cast before. Don't actually particularly remember that much about his playstyle. Yep, we'll have to see what he decides to do. The map today is Semiosky Winter. Part of the reason why I picked this live game to cast, because it's not often I get to cast this map. Semiosky, probably a map which everyone's familiar with. Been in the game for a good long while. The winter version, though, very interesting because obviously the rivers which let me just crack the tack here. The rivers which punctuate this map and form all of the choke points in the summer variant on the winter variant are frozen. So look, see, here we go. Some Tommies making their way across the slippery ice. Yeah, that makes this map, it basically completely changes the character of this map. Obviously, with the last patch on September the 17th, I think it was with the last patch anyway, the cold tech no longer functions on winter maps, which means that we're not going to see any blizzards, nobody's going to be freezing to death on this map. We can just get straight into the battle and watch two players do their best and come at each other with their best game. So I'm all for that change. I kind of never really want to enjoy the winter tech. Anyway. Curiously enough, the build from Boba Fett here going to be double Vickers, which I quite like. Now, it has come to my attention, I didn't mention it in any previous casts because obviously it's a bug and it shouldn't be in the game, but there has been an issue recently where the Vickers machine gun has been able to get infinite range. Now, obviously that is not working as intended, and I've heard that there's a hotfix coming for that today, so expect to see a patch later on today. Today's Monday the 21st, by the way. The infinite range Vickers, not what you want in the game. Relic, to their credit, fixing that in a hurry. It's a shame though, because it has disrupted a couple of tournaments, the first round of which have been running over the weekend. I believe the CoH2.org tournament has been disrupted by that. They had to ban the use of the Vickers, which pretty much hamstrung UKF through that tournament, so big shame there. Anyway, a Vickers deployed in this building, going to be doing good work. Forces of Hama here suppressed. Some Grenadiers. I believe that they will make it out of the range before they get fully pinned. Yep, so they're going to get out of there. It would be very frustrating to have to pull them back. Part of the power of machine guns in the early game. Build order here, so we've still got just the two Vickers for Boba Fett. He's now floating quite a lot of manpower. Seems that he's gone for the company command post. That has constructed. The reduced teching costs there, evident for the Brits. There's a mortar squad, the GR34, and 3 squads of Grenadiers, the choice for the Wehrmacht player Hama. And you've got to think that that's a pretty good response to the machine gun teams. The mortar makes using the machine gun teams a lot more difficult, a lot less comfortable. For example, the mortar, the machine gun which was in this building, has now been displaced by the mortar and is now being pursued by Grenadiers. Luckily, its friend here is going to back it up. They're going to start dackering down these. Oof, wow! Look at the damage on the Vickers. Negative cover. You got to get these guys out of here, Hama. Yep, and the fallback is given. And but the mortar, you know, still in position. It's going to punish these MGs for having set up. Oh my goodness! And how? That round falling plumb in the middle of the squad and killing the 3 remaining guys. That is quite the loss there for Boba Fett. I mean, because we're not talking about your regular 240 manpower machine gun squad here. We're talking about a 280 manpower Vickers MG crew, which for the Brits is just such a loss at this stage in the game. I mean, look, he's down to literally 2 squads. Okay, he is bizarrely floating quite a lot of manpower, which I can't say I fully understand. Maybe he's got a fortification in mind. Maybe this is part of his build, but if this is part of his build, it's been made even weaker by the fact that he's just lost a squad. So, hard times for the British player Boba Fett, but UK forces always going to have a hard time in the early game, it seems. That's part of their sort of design. Oh dear, and these Tommy's interrupted halfway through constructing some sandbags. I kind of think he should just turn and fight here, because I think running from these pioneers is not going to be a winning move, basically. Mortar team, where is that unit? It's deployed back here now. So that's probably going to force this Vickers out of position. Oh no, these Grenadiers, they're going to slip past and grab the fuel point. So Hama kind of pulling his opponent in as many ways as possible, and the few squads that Boba Fett has are unable to be everywhere at once. So yeah, really making the most of his units right now is Hama. And I'm just going to pour myself a little cup of jasmine tea. I've got a little pot of tea here on the side. Ah, lovely. So, yeah, the initial score lead gonna go to Hama. He's able to spread out and grab map control. I'll just crack the tack and give you an overview of that. See, so he's able to grab just one of the victory points at the moment, but there will be a second one following here. These pioneers are gonna secure this one. Looks like we've got a scuffle developing in the south of the map. The mortar team is gonna be found and is in jeopardy. No grenades yet researched for the British forces, so there's gonna be no opportunity for a rapid grenade snipe on that unit. And there does appear to be a helicopter hovering just outside my window, so I hope that isn't catching on the mic. It's kind of quite loud. Apologies if it is, not much I can do about that. These two Vickers are going to be doing a good job here, but the mortar team, yeah, it hasn't fallen back yet, so it could do a number on these two Vickers. This Vickers here has been remanned by a Tommy squad, so that one's back in the fight. Flamethrower Pioneers in a very damaged building. This is danger. This building could collapse, although it seems that Vickers machine guns don't do damage to buildings, so that seems good. Here comes a rifle grenade. Going to kill two. Oh no. Oh, I think he's set to lose another man here. I would be amazed if this that Tommy is going to get away with the Vickers. What a hero. Give that man a medal. What a legend. That is top work from him. The Vickers on the other side of the bridge going to do what it can, but I imagine quite soon it will have to displace owing to that mortar. And yes. You know what? Just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just going to close my window because that helicopter is, like, really quite loud. Hang on.
Officers can now be called in to rally our troops.
There we go. Hopefully that'll... Hopefully if that noise was catching on the mic, it should now have stopped. So, if we take a look at the teching for the Wehrmacht player, we can see that he has gone up to Battle Phase 1. He's just established his Leichter Mechanized Company. He does actually have enough fuel to just ramp straight into Tech Level 2, Battle Phase 2, and I'd quite like to see him do that. What's his munitions at? 55 right now. He's used a rifle grenade here or there, and he's also upgraded a flamethrower onto his Pioneer squad, so no scope to buy LMG-42s for all of his Grenadiers, though he could invest in one or two if he wanted to. Couple of mortars there falling in, and that is from a British 3-inch mortar position. I'm liking the position here. It's going to be quite difficult to assault that mortar, although of course actually on the winter version of the map maybe not so difficult, since troops can just assault across the river here. These Tommies are going to be in danger. Wow, trading for value there. I mean, for a squad that costs 200 manpower with a 60 munition flamethrower on it, to do that much damage to a 280 manpower squad of Tommies. Oh, sorry, those are Royal Engineers, so only a 210 manpower squad. But still, doing good damage there, those Pioneers. Here comes a 222 scout car, going to come across, try and police the field with the autocannon and the MG on that thing. Pretty good choice. There's not a lot that can answer that. If you look at the top left, look at the forces of the British player and ask yourself what's the play to take care of a 222. Pretty much the play has to be catch it in the arc of a Vickers, because nothing else is going to see this thing off. So, or catch it with a lucky mortar round. There is always that, and that is actually a thing which happens. Probably can take one direct hit, but I wouldn't have thought two. Anyway, that's going to come across, and we can see how much damage it's going to do. Ah, it's actually taking fire from the Vickers case. So he may want to just come around to this side, position it here. And that is doing very good damage to this mortar position. The brace is going to come down, but the changes, of course, in the September 17th patch, meaning that the fortifications are a little more fragile for the British. Interesting to see how much that comes to bear here. Brace is going to wear off in another 15 seconds, so if this scout car is still in position come that time, bad things are going to be happening. Oh, and here we go. I have never seen this commander be picked. So, Boba Fett has chosen the Special Weapons Regiment, so just hit pause on the YouTube channel if you want to have a look at those abilities. There's a fight going on right now, so I will not cover them just now, but basically it has enabled him to get a Tommy squad here with two boys 50 cal anti-tank and sniper rifles, or rather anti-materiel sniper rifles. And that should be... Oh, wow, the kiting from Hama is spot on, though. He's not letting them get a shot, and in comes a flame half-track. Hama, you can tell, he's played against Brits before, and he knows the key to defeating them is to pressure their emplacements. This is a 400 manpower mortar squad that has just been utterly destroyed. And the boys' 50 cal anti-tank snipers, they're going to get the half-track for their troubles, so that's not so bad. That was 120 munitions, 30 fuel, 210, or is it 300 manpower actually? I believe they changed it to 200 manpower. Okay, so not so bad. Squad of Royal Engineers going to try and do something about the victory point situation. I imagine they're going to run on and try and grab that victory point next, and they need to. And if we crack the tactical map, you can see that the Wehrmacht player has a fantastic defensive position right here, which is kind of shielding two of the victory points right now. The British player, Boba Fett, gonna maybe think about assaulting. He's got the 5-man squad upgrade, so that's pretty good. That makes Tommies just a little bit better. It makes them start looking like 280 manpower squads. So that is a plus for him. Let me just go back and check the teching for the British player. So that is the only upgrade he's got. He has not gone for the Brens. He has not gone for the for the weapon rack, and he's not gone for the Mills bomb, grenade upgrade. I would imagine though, if he's gone for this commander, he doesn't have to wait long before he can get the resupply half track, and this will enable him to grab Vickers K's, I think, and Piat launchers possibly. So it's probably worth his while not investing in the weapon racks upgrade, saving his fuel, saving his manpower, and just getting one of those things in so his squads can equip off of that. Oh wow, there's 222 getting the crucial information here. Gonna find a lot of British forces exposed on the ice here. Flamer squad of pioneers coming in, and there's more grenadiers getting ready. If they could just form a rifle line behind these walls, or possibly in the light cover here, that would be pretty big. Now here come the boys equipped Tommies. They're going to try and push the 222 back. But you know what, frankly, I think Hama's micro has been so good with that 222. I would be surprised if he lets that go down to it, based on his play so far. Rifle grenade comes out, hits two of the weapon teams. Another rifle grenade comes out, kills off one of the Vickers. The other Vicker's going to have to get back, redeploy, and that it does. Here comes the 222 for damage. That's going to push back the 50 cal sniper rifles as the Royal Engineers charge in from the south, and I don't think it's going to be enough. The Vickers is going to do its best against the 222, but eventually picked off, and that is two very expensive Vickers destroyed by the German forces here. And these Royal Engineers need to retreat. If this squad gets wiped on the way back, then things are incredibly bleak for Boba Fett. Looks like they are actually going to get out. Thank goodness. So he's got about 250 manpower. He's going to have to use a lot of that to reinforce these these squads which have been whittled down. And another mortar position in nearly the same place as the last one, in jeopardy to this 222, which is coming up for 3-star. Now, is Hama's attention on it? I believe the boys 50 cals. No, there aren't boys 50 cals on this squad, so the 222 is going to slip away again. As I have a sip of my tea, and I think that the brace there and the Tommies coming back out is going to force this 222 away. I mean, there's no point sitting the 222 here attacking a structure that's braced. And with the new cooldown on brace, he knows he can come back and exploit the cooldown when it's finished, which is going to be quite soon. There's going to be a window where he can come back and exploit that. So here's the cooldown now. There we go. So about another 60 seconds to wait on that cooldown before the structure can brace again. So he's got basically a minute's window. So he could come across and try and challenge it with his mortar squad, but that's been flushed by some Tommies, so that's going to have to get out of there. And we have the resupply half-track here on the field. Now, it can deploy Vickers K LMGs, and it can also deploy, I believe it can deploy Piats. Now, how do you do this? Ah, I see. So it places them on the floor, and then any squad can pick them up. So this is how come you can equip conscripts and American riflemen and so on. You can basically call in one of these units and share the benefits with your allies. It's a pretty powerful piece. Now, the implications of that in 2v2, 3v3, and so on are probably going to be a lot more pronounced. I mean, in 1v1, obviously, you can't share these weapons with your allies, but that is going to be quite a boon in the multiplayer games. And actually, I might look to cast a 4v4 or something like that, featuring Brits, because I would love to see the impact of that. I think conscripts running around with Piats and Vickers Ks could be really quite dangerous. So we'll have to, I'll have to try and get a replay of that. Trouble is, when you're looking in the live games lobby, you can't actually see what commanders people have equipped, so it'll have to be a lucky game that I find. And anyway, Royal Engineers doing well up here in the south. In the north. I'd love to see them grab this victory point, and that looks to be their next waypoint. And that will start to redress this terrible score imbalance. Trailing by 324 tickets now is Boba Fett, who's, let's face it, had a rough opening game. He's lost a lot of units. I've seen 2, 3, 4 Vickers squads get wiped, and he's definitely had a rough time of it. But you know what? If you look at the top left, look at the top right, the force balance is actually fairly even, and that is probably because Hama, in the heat of the battle, I didn't actually cover the fact that Hama has chosen Assault Support Doctrine. Now, this is a very, very niche commander, which you don't see used outside of team games very often, but it does allow access, if you see there, at 3 command points to the Opal Blitz cargo truck. So we have 2 of those out for the Wehrmacht player, one here and one here. And the deal with these guys is you park them in a sector, so this guy is giving him bonus fuel income now from this fuel point. So that's pretty cool. And Ostwind is going to be the fuel spending of choice here, and the British player is going to need to fish for an answer for that. 2 boys on a Tommy squad is not going to be enough to push aside an Ostwind. And I imagine when the Ostwind arrives, the Axis player, Hama, is just going to take a dive for that mortar position and try and wipe it out. That's what I think he'll do. Now, Boba Fett's able to get a Vickers into a decent position and cover the choke, but the Oswin is going to come out and hit these Tommies hard, combined with the 222. These Tommies need to pull back, or else they're in danger of getting squad wiped here. And, oh dearie me. Oh dear, that is probably a squad wipe, and Oswin is fairly unforgiving on retreating units, owing to the fact that that cannon is AoE damage. Now the resupply half-track here is in jeopardy. And that's going to need to pull back. The mortar team, I just heard on the audio, has been picked off. So it wasn't able to retreat in time. Now the Osman's going to take this resupply half-track. Meanwhile, combat in this location... Oh wow, the Vickers is able to pick off the 3-star 222. Now that is actually... It's only a small unit and it doesn't cost a lot, but it was giving a lot of field presence to the Wehrmacht player. So without that, Hama is actually... his field presence is going to be significantly reduced. Now Grenadiers have retaken the north victory point. If he can retake the middle one as well, he can look to try and keep pushing the British player out of the game. But how many games have I watched where the British player looks to be on the ropes, the game's open, looking just like this, and then once he gets down to once it gets past the 15-minute mark, the British player can really start leveraging their advantage. Has he been able to get his company command post? He has. Okay, cool. So now we can see something, maybe a Cromwell, maybe a Churchill, in the near future come out and start helping to redress the balance of power on the battlefield. That's what I've seen British players do many times. You think they're out, and they manage to somehow force a win with less than 100 tickets for like most of the game, and it's pretty cool. It's interesting to watch for sure. Pardon me, just having a sip on my drink there. So, got a bit of a scuffle here. Well, it's not really a scuffle, it's just some Grenadiers trying to capture a point. Now they're getting flumped by the 3-inch mortar here, which is now up to 1-star veterancy. Here comes the Osman. I thought he'd probably use the Osman to try and clear out this mortar position. And there are no defences down here to the south, so damage is going to be dealt. We'll see how quick brace is. There's the brace. Now he should probably fall back this Osman and come back in 30 seconds after it's worn off, but we'll see how much damage an Osman can do to a brace structure. The answer's not none. He's doing decent damage, so seems fair enough to stay there. Here come the Tommies with the boys' anti-tank rifles. In the south of the map, a unit of Royal Engineers with a Vickers K going to be able to take that victory point. Meanwhile, in the north, unit of Royal Engineers going to take that one. So for now, Boba Fett is off the clock. He doesn't have to worry about losing points for the next kind of 30 seconds or so. That's quite important. Axis forces, however, are grabbing the fuel point. They're grabbing this point here as well. Oh dear, the Osman, yep, gets the mortar position, so that is down. The boys equipped Tommies are going to follow, and I believe they have an anti-tank grenade as well. They do, they have a heat grenade, so that's pretty cool. Scuffle here between some Tommies and some Pioneers who are fighting in negative cover. I'd love to see him just come in and hug this hedge here. I don't like taking the fight here against a 5-man squad of Tommies. He's going to have to fall, oh dearie me, I think that might be a squad wipe. Ooh, he's going to get that Pioneer out of there. Pardon me, but only just. Now, let's have a look at the other abilities for this commander. He gets hold the line. Oh, that's, yep, okay, so that's the one where you basically get a defense bonus and then some air support. Gets a concentrated fire operation, which is very useful. It's a pretty big barrage. And he gets the crocodile, which is a very potent unit. Yes, it was nerfed in the last patch. No, I don't think it's very bad still. I still think it's a fantastic unit. I've seen it a few times since the patch, and it seems very potent. Now, the Ostwind was just taken out somewhere on the map. I'm sorry I missed that. I can only guess that the 6-pounder had it in arc. And I'm looking for a rack here. Nope, sorry, can't find it. Anyway, so yeah, the Opel Blitz truck is going to get displaced up in the north. And wow, a squad of Royal Engineers is going to cap this point. And with that, will that cut off? Let's look at the tactical map. Yeah, that's going to cut off like a lot of resources for the Wehrmacht player, whose lines are kind of in disarray right now. The British player has a lot of time here to focus on either mounting attack or just further disruption. And Stug is the backup choice, of course, from Hama. And the Stug's a powerful unit, but without an Osman to support it, it's not nearly so good. Well, these Royal Engineers, I'd like to see them make a grab for the mortar there. That would have been quite nice. These Grenadiers here getting hit hard. Another mortar position's been set up in the same place. This is the third one now, I believe. Actually, based on his health, perhaps it's just that he remanned the second one, but I think it's just a remanning there. Now, I'd love to know what happened to that Osman. I think it's safe to say it was probably just taken out by the 6-pounder. And here comes a Cromwell. Now, this is a tank that I hardly ever see used, but I love it. It's fast, it turns very quickly, the gun is reliable, and if you buy it the commander upgrade, which in my book is a must, it gets increased accuracy, it gets increased veterancy rate, it gets increased line of sight. What else does it get? Oh, and it can also detect camouflaged units. I mean, what? And here we have a call-in being used. That is going to be a fragmentation bombing run. This Vickers, I don't think, is going to be able to get out of the way in time. And that is a horrendously powerful call-in to use against infantry units there. It does cost 180 munitions, but you can see why. It even stuns vehicles too, so it's not useless against vehicles, that ability, and used nicely there. Now, the question is, did he see the Cromwell? I don't think so, because I think otherwise he would turn that Stug to look in that direction. And I've got to say, Boba Fett here doing really well to stay in this fight. He's back on the clock now. Tickets are being bled away from him, but he's definitely in this battle. Cromwell at the moment not doing a lot, and the pack gun is moving up. Oh wow! And the Stug catches it in its arc with the pack gun there. This is a terrible position for the Cromwell. He needs to get out. It's a quarter pounder on backup, but wow! Panzerfaust is going to break the engine, and that is a Cromwell in danger. That is a Cromwell in grave danger. If he splits off the 2 flamethrower units to attack this gun whilst pursuing the Cromwell with his grenadiers, I think he should have pursued the Cromwell, but no, he's just going to push with the Stug and try and find it, and he will find it. And I would be amazed if, I would be amazed if that Cromwell was able to survive a hit. The Stug there showing its ferocious anti-tank power. The quarter pounder gun being just burned down there. I know it's not called a quarter pounder, it's a 6 pounder, yeah, but I like calling it the quarter pounder. And gonna reman that, but an expensive loss, even so. And he doesn't particularly have a lot of manpower. I think that having that Cromwell sniped off there was really unlucky. It was in an interesting location. It was just sat here being inactive for over a minute. And when you have a tank sat at the front line, facing directly into the fog of war, just anything can go wrong, and that just goes to show what I'm talking about. Anything can go wrong with that. I like to have my tanks sat further back with infantry and a bubble around them, and that way your tank can come in and respond to where it's needed, rather than just kind of sitting at the front, kind of being a potential liability. Now the 3-inch mortar position, still doing work, still creating some havoc out there. It's back up to 1-star veterancy. The Vickers K is just, rate of fire on those things is blistering. And those engineers are going to be doing some good work. Now, where are the pioneers for the Wehrmacht player? Back in the base, because this is a Stug that needs repairs. And the British forces, if you look at the map, are pretty much, they have map control. Now, a wave of grenadiers is going to do something about the north. That is assuming that they can get past this building. It's a trench with Tommies in. Oh, you know what? The Flamers are going to make light work of that. Those Tommies are going to have to run for their life. Getting stuck a bit in the deep snow. Oof, able to get out. And the Tommies, the Vickers K engineers, well, getting hit by a rifle grenade, and they're probably going to have to retreat from this location as well. So the Wehrmacht player, despite having lost map control, oh dear, he stands to do this Stug. I was going to say he's pushing out nicely, but the Stug will go down. I imagine this quarter pounder has got to take it. No, somehow he gets behind the building as a line of sight blocker and gets out alive. Somehow he's even going to salvage this pack gun as well. I thought for sure he was going to lose the Stug and the pack gun there. Wow. Okay, well, able to get the Stug out of there. That's going to repair, and there's nearly a level of veterancy on that Stug, so it's pretty worthwhile saving it. How much fuel is the German player up to now? 173. Let's check the teching. He has gone to Battle Phase 2, obviously because he has Stugs, but he is not going to Battle Phase 3, and that indicates to me that he's going to save for the Tiger in the late game. And many games now have I seen Tigers go against the British forces in the late game and lose to Churchills and quarter pounder guns. I have to say I've not seen a late game Wehrmacht who relied on Tigers win yet. Now, I've probably only watched 3, 4, 5 games where that's been the case, but I'm just saying, I've got a bad feeling about that if that's the plan for Hama. The forces of Boba Fett here looking pretty good, actually. I mean, he's got a lot of veterancy on those Tommies. Especially the special weapon boys equipped Tommies here. Oh dear, I don't like... Oh, okay, they're going to fall back. I think I like... If you jump over this hedge before you fall back, then your units can just fall back in a straight line and don't have to run past all the enemies and risk getting flamethrowed and so on. So I think jumping over that hedge would have been a good idea there for Boba Fett. As the Wehrmacht player moves out, tries to retake mid, the special weapons half-track here actually kind of doing some damage, even though it's only got like 1 machine gun on it. That does actually look like a 50 cal, so that could be quite potent. And forces in the north are currently, one squad is idle. He needs to get active with that squad, does Hama. Points to be gotten up there, and the Wehrmacht forces retaking mid. They've still got command of the south, and they're pushing for the north. So it's looking good right now for Hama. Some pretty heavy artillery. Where is that stuff falling? I can hear massive explosions, but I cannot see it. And the 3-inch mortar, kind of doing work on these grenadiers, not getting the hit it needs. That was a use of precision fire from the British base, or you know, the artillery mode from these 25 pounders. But I'm afraid I didn't see where it actually fell. Maybe he was aiming it over here. Not sure. Sorry about that.
The enemy is taking our territory.
In any case, I don't think it killed any units. Ah, and a replacement GR34 mortar squad coming out. In fact, you know what? Yeah, I think he resalvaged that, so he's able to get a budget mortar squad there. Hama, though, manpower is not an issue for him, which is a luxury. Traditionally, I've noticed Wehrmacht, the 3-inch mortars kind of getting some friendly fire down there. The Wehrmacht forces traditionally kind of struggle for manpower and munitions in the late game, and it's fuel that they tend to run abundant on in the actual like pretty late game. So a luxurious buffer of some 700 manpower right now for Hama. Boba Fett, likewise, doing well, has a cushion of manpower he can use to adapt and pick a squad in response to whatever his opponent picks. We'll see. Has he gone for Hammer or Anvil yet? He has not gone for either. Now, they do cost more and take longer to research now, so it is more of a commitment to do so. I wonder if he's saving for a Firefly, because if he wanted a Cromwell or a Centaur, he could have had that by now. Which makes me think he's actually he's looking for a slightly later game investment, gonna go for a Firefly. And I actually think if you've got boys anti-tank rifle equipped Tommies, I actually kind of think going for the Firefly is quite a nice choice actually. Anyway, here comes the Tiger tank. The MG42 has been purchased on that, so that'll be quite a potent unit very soon. Its first shell goes flying over the hill, misses by a long shot. These Pioneers are getting shot up, and there could be a squad wipe on them. The Tiger's going to park in the way and try and prevent the squad wipe, and the Royal Engineers are going to get the hell out of there. Not before, of course, they decap the victory point, so that is important. He's going to have to send some infantry to the south, is Hama. Going to have to recap that. Royal Engineers likewise capping mid. They're going to be some mines set up there as well, which I like a lot. Now his squad of Royal Engineers, they're not going to go north. There are some Grenadiers up there. I mean, I'm not sure if they would take that fight. Probably not. Tiger getting a squad wipe there on some Royal Engineers by the looks of it. 3-inch mortars hitting, but a little late. Now he needs to be careful with this Tiger on this map. I would like to see him never put it on the ice. That would make me very nervous. Because this Tiger right now is his whole game. And here we have the Firefly. So Firefly was the tech choice. Costs 155 fuel if I recall correctly. Let me just check that. Firefly, 155 fuel, yeah. So, very expensive unit, but despite its incredibly low rate of fire, a devastating anti-tank unit. So I'm really excited to see it used against this Tiger. However, are these engineers going to capture? Sorry, are these Tommies? Yes, these Tommies are going to grab the south. That's important. And making a grab at the north as well. The Royal Engineers have got the drop on these Grenadiers. They're going to force them back. I'd love to see him just rush up to the building and hose them down through the windows, because actually the DPS on the Royal Engineers when they're close to a building, especially with the 5-man squad, is like reasonable. And against a 3-man squad of Grenadiers, that might be something you don't want to do. You might want to just pull those Grenadiers back if you're the Axis player. So, he's in no danger of bleeding out in the immediate future. I mean, he's at 68 under 436, so not an ideal situation for Boba Fett. But here comes the Firefly. Things are looking up. Now, the cost of 100 munitions is the cost for the Tulips, and he has purchased that, and I'd love to see him just grab the tank commander on that as well. Go on, because it's just such a great upgrade. The Tulips are ready to rock. The Tiger is in a prime position to get hit. And here we go. He's not taking the shot. The Firefly is so fragile. I don't want to see him get much closer. The Tiger's range has been buffed to 45 in the recent patch. Why is he not turning the turret? He's literally being shot at. There's the shot. Getting a hit, doing some good damage. Not going to use the Tulips just yet. I mean, now there is a maximum range on those Tulips, and
our capture point. They're trying to take it.
So that is. I imagine they'd probably end about here. So I think that's too far for them. But he wants to try and find that. He needs something to provide scouting for this. Maybe an SAS sniper or something. I'm not really sure what the long line of sight providers are.
Enemy threatening
for the Brits, I don't think even the Universal Carrier doesn't have long line of sight, even though it's a kind of a scout vehicle.
A capture point is being overrun.
Squad of Pioneers here, going to burn out these Tommies, force them back. That's going to take back the south victory point, and with that, Boba Fett is back on the clock, and that is not where he wants to be. It's going to be really hard to get him out of here. His lines of play are being whittled down, his resources are low. We can build another infantry squad or so, but it's going to be a while before he gets another armoured choice. Careful there, Mr. Firefly. You don't want to walk out onto the ice just yet. You don't know, man. There's a mortar squad out there. I don't know. Anything could go wrong. That's all I'm saying. Tiger could come and find you, whatever. Speaking of the Tiger, needs some repairs. Hama, not a man I've ever seen repair any of his vehicles. Where's that Stug? Has that actually been repaired yet? Yeah, okay, you're right. So the Stug's been repaired, fair enough. I actually think the Stug is in way too defensive a position. It's like he's forgotten about it. I think like positioning the Stug like here would be really tasty, or even just here would be really tasty. Because if you can lure out the Firefly to get its first shot onto the Stug, then you can trade a shot with the Stug, back the Stug away, and assault the Firefly with the Tiger, and you've probably got it then. I mean, because the Firefly's rate of fire is so low. Anyway, a pack gun set up in a lovely position here, and the Tiger, I don't like pushing onto the ice here. I think this is a risk too far, because those Tulips could probably break the ice, and then you're looking at a sunk Tiger, and that would change the game right now. That would be, to use a cliched phrase, a game changer. don't think he's going to go onto the ice, and no, he's not. But you know what? He could quite happily go over the bridge. There's like nothing here that can stop a tiger. There's just some Vickers K nests. That's about it. Scuffle up here in the north. Some Royal Engineers getting roasted and toasted here. They're probably going to have to get on out of there, especially with the LMG-42 Grenadiers here. Yeah, there we go. And he's going to be lucky to avoid a squad wipe here, but he does avoid a squad wipe, so that's good. 2 LMG-42 Grenadiers here, actually, mowing down dudes as they come over the bridge, and that will probably finish this poor Royal Engineer off. The boy from Wales going to die far away on a battlefield in Russia, mowed down by men he's never met before. Such is the cold reality of war. The cold reality of war. Oh, and that was a pro rifle grenade, giving perfect lead there from Hama. Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, I know rifle grenades are good, but that was one which took a little bit of skill. And the Firefly is going for an ambitious flank around here. Somehow I think the Tiger knows about it. Well, of course it does, actually. The Pioneers just saw it. I don't know what the Firefly is doing here. Is this a misclick? I just can't see any benefit. This seems like a terrible position. He's just going to trade the Firefly for an Opal Blitz. That was all his fuel investment. Oh my goodness! And with that and the loss of those squads running over the bridge, that pretty much is GG for the British player there. I know he was up against it. I know that he was bleeding out on tickets, but I don't think he needed to sick his Firefly like that. I would have preferred him trying to take a fight with the Firefly around here. Even just creeping it onto the edge of the ice and just plinking on attack ground or something. You know, back it up with a 6-pounder, which admittedly he doesn't have. But yeah, just kind of lost steam there. Ran out of steam, ran out of energy. Didn't pack his Duracells, did Boba Fett. Because I thought, moving into like the late mid-game, he had a really good setup. He killed the Oswin, he had the Stug on the back foot, he had a really nice deployment of troops, he had the 6-pounder, Tommies with boys, AT rifles, Royal Engineers everywhere, he even had map presence and had forced the Wehrmacht way into his base. So, yeah, I don't know, just losing a lot of infantry units and possibly spreading himself too thin around the map. Did Boba Fett there. Also, I have to say, one of the game-defining moments was when that Cromwell was just parked here, idle for over a minute. Now, you just never want to leave a tank facing fog of war, because that's how you can lose a tank just out of nowhere. It's always better if the tank was parked just on the bridge here or somewhere, using your infantry as like a ring of... I'll tell you what, I'll use the tactical map to try and enunciate this. So if you have the Cromwell parked on the bridge here, that's not at risk of sinking in the ice, and it can easily access this entire area of the map. You have your infantry fanned out in a ring like this, and they're pushing out, grabbing points. Whenever they make contact in a way which the Cromwell would be beneficial to bring into a fight, so they see a vehicle, they engage some infantry where the Cromwell can come in and assist, you deploy the Cromwell, it gets to the fight in like less than 10 seconds and starts doing damage, and it was never exposed to a wall of fog of war. And you know, coming out of fog of war can be a pack gun and a Stug, and then you lose your Cromwell. So yeah, speaking as a player who's lost a fair amount of vehicles over the years, I have to say that's the way I prefer to use vehicles. Anytime I see a vehicle parked on the front exposed to fog of war, alarm bells start ringing in my head. So yeah, apart from that though, solid play from Hama, displaying proficiency and skill with the Wehrmacht team. He did make a few blunders and lost the Ostwind at some point. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to cover that. But came back in the late game using a commander which I have not seen used in 1v1 ever? I'm going to say ever? Certainly not since the first 6 months of the games being released, anyway. But using it to good effect, the frag bomb, the Tiger tank, the cargo truck, all good stuff, all being used well. And I have to say, this special weapons regiment is a commander which I really want now, because the resupply half truck is fantastic, and it lets you not buy a weapon racks for your guys. So it saves you fuel in a way. I think it's pretty awesome. I think that's an exciting commander. I love the way it gets the Crocodile and the artillery barrage as well. So, yep, a good game there on a map which I don't see often played. Thank you very much to all of you for watching, and this is Magpie842 signing out.